And so it is. Welcome everybody to Rails many-to-many APIs. Yep. Come on now. Remember why we say M to N, not M to M?
M to M is the same thing.
Yeah. It's math, they're variables. So we're indicating there's some other thing that has a relationship with, so it's got to have a different letter. Cool. So I hope that by the end of this lesson, you too should be able to use many-to-many relationships in APIs. So we have my favorite dog stuff here. We have a dog model. We have an owner model. And I've built out all the CRUD actions and the routes and the controllers for all that stuff. All we got to do is this part in here. So before we get started, what are the steps that we're going to have to follow to bridge these two? Right now they have no relationships, no nothing.
Have to make a join class.
What was that?
We have to make a join class.
Yep. So we're going to have to make a join class. What else?
We have to make a join table.
Yeah. Make a join table. Both of these are a part of making a new what?
Migration.
Oop, that's this.
Model.
Thank you. So we got to make this join model. We'll call it dog owner. All right. What else we got to do?
Gonna have to lost the word. Index resource the dog and the owner to the dog owner.
Yep. How do we do that?
Oh.
Actually, before we talk about how we do that with Rails, how do we do that with this model? What are the lines? Where are the crow's feet?
One dog is going to have many dog owners, and one owner is going to have many dog owners.
Thank you. So then how do we represent that with Rails?
T.references.
So we are going to have those references, and actually that's going to be part of making this join table, is we'll have those T.references statements. That'll relate them in the database. How do I relate them in Rails?
Go into the model and do a owned by and has many.
Yeah. Not owned by, though.
Belongs to.
Belongs to. So we have to do some belongs to. And we got to do some has many. And then
Here.
what was that?
Has many through.
And then we got to do a has many through also. All right. And that should establish our many-to-many relationship in Rails. So did it with the database, did it with Rails.
In the code challenge for next week, do you anticipate that it's going to be building everything from the ground up, or kind of working with a starter file like you setting us up with right here and making these relationships happen?
It's everything from the ground up, but I'll tell you right now, there's not relationships on that code challenge.
Is the code challenge just like the CRUD operations?
Just the CRUD operations. Remember that thing I did on Monday? Like that. Cool. What else? So we've done these. Now what about over in our controller? So if we want to use these relationships, how do I return related records?
Belongs to?
That's the model still.
Oh,
What goes in the controller?
Make your actions.
Got to have the actions in there. The actions actually don't change. The stuff inside the actions, very slight modification. You've been doing it with Ahmed for days now.
Quick question. When is the right time to use has and belongs to?
Talk about that in a sec. What's the thing we do in the controllers?
include.
There we go. We got to include stuff on our GET requests. So that other question was, when do we do belongs to? When do we do has many? Who's got an answer for that?
No, I mean like I've seen this method where it says has and belongs to many.
Oh, that one? Don't worry about it. That one's rare. Nothing you'll do in this program needs you to do anything other than belongs to and has many separately. Okay, but let's place those in this diagram. What gets a belongs to and what gets a has many?
The dog and owner both get belongs to, and the dog owner gets the has many.
Opposite.
It's contextual.
So
Which direction we're going.
dog owner has many dog or belongs to dog, and dog owner belongs to owner.
So going this way, it's belongs to. Okay. Ergo.
So then dog owner, or sorry, dog has many owners through dog owner, and owner has many dogs through dog owner.
Yes. Now keep in mind that we still have to do these simple relationships first. If I want to say that a dog has many owners like this, I do it through that simple relationship. Same way the other way around here. That's the through. That's the through. But we have to make this relationship first. Because if I'm saying a dog has many owners and it does it through this table, I'm going to say dog has many dog owners. Dog has many owners through dog owners. That's the through part. You can't skip the simple relationship. Cool. That's it. Questions?
That has to read up to down, right? So like you can't say has many owners through dog owner and then say has many dog owner. Like the scope is up to down.
Yeah, I believe it's sequential. I mean, they're just statements. And I think you have to make the simple statement before you can make the complex one. I might be wrong on that, but I don't think I am. Other questions? Okay, so I want you to do step 1 on your own. Give it a shot. You know how to do this stuff. You've made related models. This first step isn't even anything different than we did in mod 1. I'm going to give you 4 minutes. Use your notes if you need to, but try to do it from the dome first. 4 minutes. Do step 1. Go. All right, so let's talk about it. So we got to make a join class and a join table. I would expect to do something like Rails JModel. And and then dog owner. Beep. Version mismatch. Oh, I'm still using. Use 261. Go. Cool. Then I can go over to my migration, create a table called dog owners. What goes in here? Logan, give me some ideas.
You are going to need the T references for both dog and owner.
Nice. So do T references, what happens next?
Colon owner.
Cool. And then dog for the other one?
Yes.
Okay. Then if I try to migrate that. All right, so it is. Now, that doesn't actually enforce foreign key constraints. Anybody know how we do that?
Using null false and foreign key true.
Yeah. So I can Rails DB rollback. Like that. Look good?
Yep.
Cool. So now if I migrate that, pew, pew, pew. All right, so I have done step one. Made the model, made the table. So now step two. We got to get these belongs to and has many's and the has many's throughs and all that kind of stuff. So again, you know how to do this. We did this in mod one. Nothing special here. See if you can do it. I'm going to give you 3 minutes for this. Go. Cool, pencils down. So I want to do oh, you tell me. Which one should I do first?
Dog owner.
Sure. What goes in dog owner?
Belongs to owner, belongs to dog.
You're beautiful. Cool, I'll take it. All right, how about my simple has manys?
You could put a has many dog owners in both dog and owner.
Yeah, has many dog owners. There. Cool. So those are the simple ones. How about the throughs, the more complicated ones? What are those?
On the owner file, you need to do has many dogs through owner or dog owners.
Darn tootin'. So the syntax on this is kind of weird. Makes it a little bit tricky to remember. So let's take a look at what that would look like if we wrote it out longhand. Has many is a method that takes in two arguments. The first argument is a symbol. The second argument is a hash. This one has a key of through, and its value is dog owners as a symbol. This and this are identical. And you'll find throughout Rails this pattern over and over again. Takes something as an argument and then takes a hash so that you end up comma separating this with all the like optional keys of the hash. Kind of a clever design, but when you're still getting used to Ruby syntax, it's a little bit of like a mental workout. Cool. How about on this dog side?
As many owners, comma, through kissing colons, dog owners.
Kissing colons. So another mental connection I'd like you to make. What we did here is we made like an owner's property, an owner's method available on dog. So now I can do Bixby.owners. That's what that line does. And it gives Rails some hints about where those owners come from.
So basically it's a similar shorthand to like how we were using adder readers, adder writers, those sorts of things, but it does something different.
Correct. Very good. And both of those are examples of macros. They're, it's generating code for us. There's a longhand way that we could do all of those steps by hand, and we've wrapped all that code in a method that's called has many or belongs to.
Can I ask you about something kind of more related to step one?
Please.
So instead of doing a Rails G model, I did a Rails G resource.
Okay.
And I know that's creating the controller as well. When's it more appropriate to do one or the other?
So that created the controller. It also created routes for you, but riddle me this. What are you doing that routes to the dog owner model specifically?
Nothing.
Yeah,
Nothing?
we don't have like, it's not inconceivable that anyone would want to work directly with the join table. But unless you have a reason to, no reason to make routes for it, which means there's no reason to make a controller for it. We do need the model, because the model is how these two talk to each other. But we don't need the routes, so we don't need the controller. Ergo, it's not a resource.
So generally for join tables, you wouldn't need a resource, just a model. As opposed to the actual classes, we can do resource to create the controllers
Right.
and the routes.
Unless you are operating directly on that join model.
Okay.
So what that would be in this case is if I wanted a route that when you hit it takes an existing dog and an existing owner and joins them together. That's not unheard of. There are plenty of many-to-many relationships where like you make a dog, you make an owner, and then rather than adding an owner to a dog or adding a dog to an owner, you just create that relationship directly. You create a new instance of dog owner. So a good example of this, let's say instead of dog and owner, we have student and class and enrollment. It might make tons of sense to say, I'm creating a new enrollment. You can also do that by adding a class to a student or adding a student to a class. All three of those things do identical things. It's more about what do you want that to look like in your interface? What do you want to expose to the public? What's the mental model for this like? That determines whether or not that's a resource.
What about using like scaffolding? What does that do?
Scaffolding is kind of like resource, except it also generates the view code, and we're not doing any of that. So like it'll generate HTML templates and all that kind of stuff. Good question. Other questions so far? Cool. Before we move on to step 3, let's do this one together. I want you to hop over to your seeds file. So I've got Bixby, Mesa, and Harmony in here, and I have Kyle and Elise in here. So we have all these relationships established. I want to, well, let's see, let's do this directly. We can say that dog owner dot create, and then we can say that the dog is Bixby and the owner is Kyle. I don't super care which of these you associate with what, but make a couple dog owner records so we got something to query. So maybe we say that Bixby is owned by Kyle and Elise. Maybe we say that Mesa is only owned by Elise. Maybe we say that Harmony is only owned by Kyle. Something like that. And if you run that seed, pew pew. So why were we able to say dog and owner? Because that's not what they are in the database. Here, I'll prove it. If I do SQLite 3 DB development SQLite 3, I go, all right, what's the schema here? All right, select all from dog owners. Okay. So I've got I have those 4 records that I created there, but dog owners has an ID, an owner ID, and a dog ID. Well, that's weird. I was able to just say dog and owner there. Why?
Because Rails is magic.
That's the real answer. It's because Rails is magic. It's because we're working with the model. We're not working with the database. And this is an easy thing to get mixed up in your head. The model is not the database. The model is an abstraction on top of the database. And it lets us do things like this. The other reason we were able to call that dog and owner, because that's what we called them here. Coincidentally, I could have done that as dog ID is harmony.id, owner ID is owner.id. That would have had the exact same outcome. But if I say ID, it's looking for an integer. If I say dog, it's expecting an instance of that model. Questions?
Would it be appropriate to also throw a dog owner dot destroy all at the top of the C file?
Holy shit, yeah, it would. In fact, we're going to be in trouble if we don't do that. Good call. So I put that one there. Why not there? Why did I want to put that one first?
You have
Order.
to destroy it before you destroy the things that are referencing it.
Exactly. Dog doesn't depend on dog owner. Owner doesn't depend on dog owner. I can go back to exactly what I had before this class even started and just have some dogs and some owners, no relationship. Who cares? I added this relationship that can't exist without dog and owner. But that's the one I got to get rid of first. Because if I try to get rid of dogs, dog owner is going to go, but I need dogs. Cool. So that one goes first. Other questions? Cool. So now, nothing to it but to do it. I want you to do step 3. So on the dogs controller and the owner's controller, for the index and show actions, we should be able to include our related records. Two minutes on this one. For show and index, for dog and owner, give me the related records too. Go. That sounded like a successful noise. Thirty seconds. All right, cool. So, Adrian, give me some ideas how I can start with this. Oop, Adrian looks frozen. Bob, give me some ideas how I can start with this. Unmute.
So first thing you want to do is go to your dog controller.
Cool.
And then at the show, after that render JSON, put a comma, include, colon, and then in a hash, do colon owners. Or, I'm sorry, not in a hash, in an array, like just the brackets.
Like that?
Just like that.
Beautiful. So I should be able to get a specific dog and then see its owners. Now, while we're in here, I want to do that same thing over here. All right, so dogs controller should be good to go. Let's see that it is. If I go to localhost 3000 and get my dogs, hey, good gravy. Bixby's owned by Kyle and Elise. Mace is owned by Elise. Harmony is owned by Kyle. Victory. Cool. So, Lynn, give me an idea of how I can do the other one. Oop, Will.
Sorry, I'm muted. Yeah, so I got lost and left behind on the Autobahn, like back when I was trying to install my Ruby versions.
Uh-oh.
So I'm like way behind here.
All right, so assume that I have it all set up correctly. I got the show and index here. What do I need to do to see my related dogs? This is the same thing you guys were doing with Ahmed the last couple days.
Is it this the same as above, like what Bob was saying, where you just put the include?
That's it. And then what?
And we're in show, so include dogs.
Yeah. And it's in an array like that. Ta-da. If I grab that, put the same thing on index. Run that app. Okay, so dog still works. And now, if we go over here to owners, Hachi Machi. Not bloody bad. Questions?
Are the create functions in the controllers now going to have to reference an ID for the other one?
They could. They don't have to.
They don't have to.
Remember, I can create a dog or an owner without a relationship. The relationship's separate. So maybe what I do is I could let's go over to the owner's controller. So I'm creating an owner, and I also want to add any dogs that I have in there. So maybe what I do is, well, let's think about how I would do that. Go to Postman. Okay, so I'm making a post request to localhost 3000 users, owners. And then I'm sending over name, Duncan, just Duncan, age, 8 years old next week. Okay, so I can do this right now. I'm running the server, that is. Nothing special there. Cool, and there's my new owner. Now, if I wanted to be able to also add a bunch of dogs and have those dogs be owned by Duncan, well, there's a few different ways I could do that. I could do existing dogs by also having like a dogs key in here and then having each of these be IDs. So then I just need to make new dog owner records, like with each of those IDs. Or I could look up the dogs and do something like Duncan.dogs and then shovel those in. Be a way to do that. I could also like create new dogs. So this one's going to be name Boosie and breed is imaginary. So maybe I have something like that also, where I can create a new dog and associate it with an owner at the same time. So that we got to do a little bit more code gymnastics for. So that would probably be something like creating an owner. And then I also want to get the dogs, which is going to be like params dogs. That's what that's going to come in on. So that'll be equal to this array of hashes. Then I could do something like maybe map over those and turn them into new dog instances. So it would be something like dog.create name is dog name. Ew, I think it throws those in hashes for me. Change this around. Like that. And then let's breed. Okay, so that should create a bunch of new dog instances for me. And then I can say dogs.each maybe something like owner.dogs dog. I'll bet I can throw that here too. Include dogs. I wonder if that works. Might not. Let's see. So I run the server, got these dogs, moment of truth. Hey, look at that. Duncan is an owner. Boozy the imaginary dog is one of his dogs. It's got an ID from the database. Ta-da! So we made an owner instance. We turned that dogs array that we sent over. We made some dog instances with that. And then we added each of them to the owner's dogs. No Rails magic there, not really. That's regular old mod 1 iteration and shoveling and that sort of stuff.
But doing that won't create an actual dog owner instance, will it?
No, it does, because that's owner.dogs that we shoveled into. This just made an owner instance. This just made those dog instances. This is the association.
Could you restrict your create method so if someone didn't put in an associated dog when you created an owner, it wouldn't work? Or
Sure. So you could say something like, if params dogs, let's see, if not params dogs, render status bad request. Otherwise, do all the rest of this. Made an owner, made the dogs, made the association. Ooh, actually, I'm curious about something. I wonder if it actually wrote that to the database. Let's see. So if all that worked right, I should be able to get a list of all the owners and see Bixby's imaginary dog Boosie. Yep, there it is.
So Boosie would be in the dogs table then?
Yeah. Let's get all the dogs. There we go. What else you want to know?
Can you talk a little bit about combining includes and accepts and onlys?
No. Not in this lesson. What else? Cool. Have a good lunch, everybody.
Hey, I have one more question. Sorry. What if you had like another table that said like favorite park?
Sure.
When you go to include that,
Mhm.
would you just put like another array or include it in the same array?
Like that. Because the longhand version of all of this render is just one big old method, and it takes in a hash like that. So longhand, that's what we're actually doing here. We're using 3 keys in this hash we're passing into render: JSON, status, and include. JSON is a hash. Status is a symbol. Include is an array of symbols. Cool. Anything else? Have a nice lunch, everyone.